Good evening, everyone. Welcome along to TGP2. This is a thrilling night ahead of us. We have got three-way title fight between Daniel P. Wheelnut, Wet Lemons, and, of course, Lewis Craig. The three of them separated by just 12 points. And here we are for Singapore and Italy. And there's drama here with a wet qualifying session. And we're expecting more rain in the race too. So welcome along. There's 7 minutes to go in this session. It's Chris Johnson who's currently quickest with a 1:54.2, 2 tenths clear of Magic Poop Cannon, with Neljak and Jack Pearson a further couple of tenths back. But we are expecting the drier tyres to be coming out shortly. The track is getting drier. The rain is still falling, but only ever so lightly. So just 6 minutes to go in this session. How important is it going to be to get those final laps in, Dan, on what we expect, the soft tyres?
Yeah, it's going to be vital. It's going to be a very similar situation that we had in TGP1 qualifying yesterday. Almost identical, really, in terms of the track drying out towards the end of the session, and just a couple of laps at the end to get your soft run in. But I think at this point yesterday, it had actually stopped raining. It's still raining on my screen with these guys. So maybe it's going to be, even more sort of last man across the line who will get the pole position, who will get the best track conditions. Because the rain, it still hasn't stopped raining yet.
Yeah, this is going to be a thrilling climax. We're hearing from the drivers on track that the rain is going to stop in the next 3 to 5 minutes. So it is going to be right at the very end of the session. Who's going to chance it and go out there on dry tyres just waiting for their run? Well, currently Nooney has gone quickest, a 1:54.0. Now, the new benchmark in this session. The times will be getting quicker and quicker. It's still raining, like you said, Dan, but it looks like it's ever so lightly now. Will we see times tumble? I suspect we will. But Nooney currently leading the way. 1 tenth clear of Chris Johnson. Poop Cannon third. The highest of the title contenders, really. He's fourth, but a little further back from the leading trio. Let's just go quickly through the points. It's Daniel P on 179. He's 5 points clear of Lewis Craig on 174, and then a further 7 points back is Wet Lemons on 167. So it's really close between the three of them. But at the moment, it's Lewis Craig who's the quickest of them all in P4. Neljak, what can he do in the Ferrari? He's fifth at the moment, and make that sixth because Speed Sully, his teammate, goes ahead of him on the Ferrari. Still, any drivers out there on dry tyres yet, Dan? Surely it's too dry. Too wet.
No, not yet. But I'm just interested to see where Neljak ends up on this lap. That's assuming that, of course, he completes the lap, because we are at a stage now, really, where you probably want to be back in the pit lane, monitoring the times and the conditions of if it's going to dry up or not. And actually, he just invalidates this lap on the final corner there. Neljak, he went wide, so he should have pitted, because now he's going to have to wait another 2 minutes trying to get back to the pit lane, because it's a very long track here in Singapore. So even in the dry, it takes a while to get out the pit lane and get your out lap done before you start the lap. As it looks like, the rain's beginning to let off a little bit now. So it looks like it will come down to the very, very, very dying stages of this qualifying session. And I'm really looking forward to what happens here. I mean, if you're a driver like Kaya or Parser, who hasn't really played a part in this championship, you would surely be putting the soft tyres on. If you're in a championship battle, maybe it's a little bit more risky. Where what should you do? Should you just play it safe? Should you just go out there and see what happens? But certainly, if you're Kaya, if you're Parser, if you're Mr. John, you're absolutely putting the soft tyres on.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it? Because, of course, if you don't pit for the dry tyres at the end, you might actually be on the quicker tyres, because if it's not dry enough, you might still find that extra bit of time on the intermediates as the track gets even drier. But then again, if you're not on the right tyre at the right time and you're not on the softs and it gets too dry, then you are going to be swamped, as those further back making those risks will then benefit massively. A lot of drivers invalidate. It looks like it's very easy to do around this circuit. Bazza currently P13 at the moment. We won't be happy with this lap time. Say Sports is finding time out there in sector 1. He's 4 tenths up, still a long way to go in this session. I think Neljak is invalidated. Speed Sully coming back into the pits, probably, I suspect, like you said, Dan, for the dry tyres. But really, you want to be leaving the pit lane like no later than 2 minutes and 5 seconds, right? Because otherwise, you're going to be running out of time to get to the finish.
Yeah, I mean, look at Wheelnut there. The championship leader has just gone on pole. But if these guys are all going to put softs on now, and it looks like it's stopped raining, he's going to lose out massively to everybody who put the set of soft tyres on at the end here. But you want to be, even if you leave the pit lane 2 minutes 5, the outlap, it's going to take a while as well, and then you've got to close off traffic to factor in as well. Chris Johnson's coming out the pit lane. He is coming out the pit lane on intermediate tyres as well. So really, we still do not actually have. We have Jack Craig out on track. Jack Craig out on track on the soft tyres. Now he's the first car to come out on the track on the soft tyres. I have to say, he's struggling quite a bit.
Yeah, it's too wet, surely. Just looking at the onboard here from Wet Lemons, who is very quick at the moment. Magic Poop Cannon goes quickest at 1:53.0. Times are tumbling now. Wet Lemons, though, is also out there going purple. He's just got a couple more corners to negotiate. Try not to invalidate it on the inside. Round the final corner, not lose the back end either. Can he go quickest of all? He can't. He doesn't actually improve. He lost time in the final sector. Jacko came into the pits for new tyres, but he's not going to go in time. Say Sports goes second, just 5 tenths off the pace. Who else is out there improving? Lewis Craig's in the pits, but it's all too late. They're not going to go in time. There's only 1:50 to go, surely.
That's it. That's it now. That is it. This is very straight. It looks like so many drivers have got the timings wrong. I mean, Lewis Craig is leaving the pit lane right now. It's way too late.
It is. This is crazy. So who's out there improving? Magic Poop Cannon might have just got this settled. He's not going to get around again, I don't think. Maybe he'll get time for one more. Sayer Sports is finding time. Is he in sector one? He's up by 400s. Could Sayer Sports give us a shock pole position here around Singapore? Daniel P. Wilnot's going slower, I think.
Mike Noon's about to cross the line here. I don't know if he's on a lap or not. No, I think he's going to... Well, he's just gone fifth, but I think he's about to be on a lap right now. Wilnot's coming in the pit lane as well, so Wilnot isn't going again either, so maybe he hasn't got the fuel to go again. This is going to be really strange because we've got all these cars coming out on outlaps, and they're not going to actually be able to get a lap in.
Well, I hope none of them get in the way of those who are going quicker, because Sayer Sports is finding time out there. Surely we're not going to see Sayer Sports take pole position. This is one track he really enjoys, but his pace so far this season hasn't quite been up there with the rest of the field. He's coming up to a few cars ahead who are on their outlap, so let's hope they don't get in the way. We've got Mike Noon out there and Lemons too, both of them finding time, but Lewis Craig, who is challenging for this championship, he won 3 of the first 4 races, is going to be starting at best 8th position, but I think it's probably not going to get any worse than that, because everyone behind's also out there on laps, outlaps.
Well, Evans is about to cross the line here, and he's going to be able to set this lap, and he'll get one more in as well. But of course, he hasn't got much energy left, so that may play a factor in the second lap. And of course, if the track's getting drier and drier, it may not. But Well, Evans going to round the final corner. Will this put him onto pole? Puts him into second place.
Good lap time there. What about Sayer Sports? He lost time in the middle sector. He doesn't improve, I don't think. No, but he also will get another lap in. Doesn't look like he's going to go for one. Looks like he's slowed down. So who is going to improve then? Magic Poop Cannon, he's got another lap in. Wet Lemons has 2. Sayer Sports won't be going again. Mike Noon is out there in the middle sector. Is he finding time? I'm not too sure. It looks very slippy and slidey. It didn't quite dry up for the dry tyres.
Mick Schumacher had a big accent there as he crossed the line. But yeah, you can see the checkered flag next to so many names, because that's it for them. That's the session over for all of those guys. There's still some on laps. Jacko, he hasn't improved. He stayed in 5th place. Is Mike Noon about to improve? He's about to come around the final couple of corners. So the gamble for soft tyres for Jack Craig has not went on. He's spun out of the final corner. He crossed the line. I thought he might still improve actually there, but no. Because of that spin, he will start in 6th place, and we're just on the top 3 now, and Chris Johnson, and also Mighty Green Lemon.
Chris Johnson is 7 tenths up on his previous best. He's flying out there. Purple middle sector. Can Chris Johnson snatch it from Poop Cannon right at the end? He'll be the next driver of these leading contenders to cross the line. Will we see a Chris Johnson pole position? We've seen Sayer Sports get close. The McLaren's really excelling around this Singapore circuit. Just a few more corners to go. The final sector now. Chris Johnson, can he get it nice and tidy? Just 2 corners to go. A 1:53.0 is the time to beat. It's going to be so close. Chris Johnson to the line. Is it pole position? It's not. No. It's P3.
And I don't think Joe Sayer is improving. So the next across the line, I think, is going to be Jack Pearson. Now, Jack Pearson, let's say he's made a few errors on this lap, and he's only jumped up into 9th place. So maybe it's at the point now where the tyres, these inters aren't actually good enough either.
Yeah, it might be too greasy. Poop Cannon, don't think he's improving. We'll see, though. Around the final couple of corners, this could be an improvement. At 1:53.0 to beat. In fact, it might well be. He crosses the line. He does find time. He goes a bit quicker. Lemons doesn't. Mighty Green Lemon.
To Mighty Green Lemon.
Surely not. Mighty Green Lemon. He goes 7th. I thought for a moment we were going to see a shock pole position, but that's qualifying done. It is Magic Poop Cannon on pole position with Wet Lemons in 2nd, Chris Johnson 3rd, but Daniel P. Wilnot, championship leader, down in 5th, and Lewis Craig 2nd in the championship, down in 9th.
Wow. Well, that is a mixed up grid, isn't it, for this race? I mean, we have really got some grid here, but it's just so strange that it was obviously clearly stopped raining, but just happened a little bit too late. And that is why none of them will be able to put the dry tyres on. Jack Craig, he did try the dries, but it was too late in the session. What an incredible qualifying session that was. We've got the race to come, and well, if it's as unpredictable as this quali session, then for a classic.
Puttkanen with his 20th career pole position. What a lap time it was. 7/10 clear of the opposition. Half the field caught napping, getting their timings wrong. But it was Wet Lemons who managed to be the best of the three leading contenders. He's second. Chris Johnson and Joe Sayer make it an all McLaren second row, an all Mercedes third row, with Daniel P. Wheelnut and Jacko behind helping his course. Mighty Green Lemon is seventh. Mike Noon is in eighth place. Lewis Craig and Jack Pearson completing that top 10. But what a race we've got in store then, and we are expecting more rain on race day. It is meant to be, what I'm told, a dry to wet race. So we'll see how that develops, but let's hope it's just as exciting as qualifying, Dan.
What's interesting is because usually out of every single track on the calendar, this is the one really that you want to start on the medium tyres and go from a medium to soft strategy. This is by far the track where you would do that. But if the rain, is going to come in maybe lap 3, lap 4, would it be best to possibly start on the softs?
Yeah, let's have a look and see how we get on. It's going to be a thrilling start. Let's see what the track conditions are as we get to the grid. We're about to go race them, and it is a dry start at least, but how long until it stays dry? It's going to be a thrilling race here in Singapore. Let's keep an eye on the leading attenders. Let me remind you, it's Magic Puttkanen who's on pole. He's fourth, a bit further back, but still in contention. Then Wet Lemons, Lewis Craig, and Daniel P. Wheelnut. So Dan, what's your prediction for this race? Who is going to be on top in 25 minutes' time?
Well, I'm just having a look here, and according to my sources, it looks like it could rain towards the end of the race, I believe. So this could be anyone's, and the majority of the field seems to be starting on mediums.
It's going to be a thriller. Singapore, lights out, and we're away. It's a good start from the Mercedes of Jacko. I never thought I'd say that. He may even jump his teammate, but Wet Lemons crucially ahead of Magic Puttkanen at the very start. The McLarens have kept third and fourth, but what a start it was for Wet Lemons, taking the lead straight away from Puttkanen. Jacko, in fact, has lost a couple of places. He's now down behind Lewis Craig, who's had a great start up into P6. He needs to make a move to get himself right back in contention for this championship. Wet Lemons leads, though, crucially. He needs to pull clear. He came so close winning both races last week, but failed to do either so. Can Puttkanen get him back down to this corner? Not quite, but Sayer Sports keeping an eye on it just behind as well.
Yeah, it was a vital start up by Wet Lemons, as you say, because last week he was in the lead championship, but then lost both wins because of penalties. But a good start also for Lewis Craig, who's jumped up 3 positions into 6th place, just behind the championship contender Wheelnut, the championship leader Wheelnut, who stayed in 5th place. But as you say, yeah, Wet Lemons getting the best start, and just looking now at the tyres. And yeah, the majority of the field are on mediums. The top 12 are all on mediums, aside from Joe Sayer, who's put the softs on.
So I think they're all expecting rain then towards the end of the race. Get as long as you can on those medium tyres and maybe pit for the intermediates if that rain does indeed come. But the drivers waited and waited for the weather to change and qualify. It didn't happen. Will it happen this time in the race? A bit longer than the qualifying session, of course. This is one of the longest races of the season, lasting just over 25 minutes. It's a real long affair to get through, but it's a really tricky one too, with walls right around the edges of the track, and Joe Sayer clipped the barriers there, but I think he's okay.
I think he is, yeah. So we've also got Jack Craig on hards in 13th, Kaya also on the softs in 17th, and Mr. John on the hards as well in 19th. Yesterday, it had the car automatically set to hard tyres in TGP1, so I just wonder maybe if a couple of drivers have not noticed that, and they have also put the hard tyres on for the start of this race. So into lap 1 then, Wet Lemons got a 6/10 lead, and we've got a yellow flag out. I think Kaya's had a spin.
Yeah, it looks like a bad start for the Alpha Tauri. Passes gained a few places up to 14th. He started at the very back of the grid. Not been a great start for Speed Sully. He's down in 17th, make that 16th as he passes Mick Schumacher, who also appears to have had a spin in the opening part of this lap. But the two McLarens then still holding 3rd and 4th, doing very well at the moment. We've got Daniel P. Wheelnut getting closer to Chris Johnson, though. He'll want to get through. He can see Wet Lemons is leading this race. Of course, championship leader Daniel P. Wheelnut looking for a second driver's title. Wet Lemons looking for only his first. But Lewis Craig, also in contention for this title, is right behind Daniel as well.
Yeah, he's nearly pushing him through that previous corner there, so this could get a bit tasty, I think, in a few laps time between Chris Johnson, Wheelnut and Lewis Craig, and then we've got 1911 watching on, no doubt hoping for an instant between these guys as well, but Lewis Craig and Wheelnut 5th and 6th, battling for the championship. Oh, Daniel P. Wheelnut there, though, he's going to send one up the inside of Chris Johnson. He's actually fallen back a little bit now, it must be said, from his teammates there. He is on those soft tyres, of course, and looks like Mike Newton may have had a moment at the hairpin there, just over the Anderson Bridge. Yes, he has, and he's gone down to 15 points.
Well, Poop Cannon is now just outside DRS range, and as I say, that actually pulls back a few tenths, so maybe a bad corner for Lemons. In fact, he's lost a few tenths there. Went down to 6 tenths temporarily. Lewis Craig is still all over the back of Daniel P. Wilnot. He looks more confident at this stage of the race, more grip in those tyres apparently. They're both on the mediums though, so there really should be no difference between them. But My Green Lemon is right behind Lewis Craig as well, looking to get involved in this fight too.
Yeah, so we start lap 3 then, as I say, DRS enabled on this lap, and Poop Cannon is half a second behind Wet Lemons. Who's had a spin? Is it Parser?
It's Parser.
Parser having a spin at the final corner then, but yeah, Poop Cannon's got 60% ERS, and he is just behind Wet Lemons, who's got 40%, who's using it now. And so is Poop Cannon, but Poop Cannon's going to have the DRS. I don't think he's going to catch up, and he's going to be anywhere near actually on this lap. Wilnot has not got DRS though, so Lewis Craig is going to be quite close, perhaps, but again, too far behind to go for a move. As My Green Lemon almost hits the back of Lewis Craig there.
My Green Lemon got close, so close, not sure he wanted to go for it. He knows that Lewis Craig is in the title fight, but Lewis Craig has it all to lose really. He can't really afford to get in any kind of scrap, so will we see him defend it hard? Will we see him just let him go if My Green Lemon sends one up the inside? But so far, clean racing here. The Hasman just keeping back from the two title contenders that are right in front of him. Probably not what you want on your debut of the season, to see the two title contenders right in front of you. You do not want to get involved in that. But the field's still very close together. Everyone kind of within a second of another inside the top 11. It's only really the McLarens that kind of separate a little bit. But yeah, Poop Cannon's now just within half a second. And still, these three fighting for 6th, 7th and 8th, very close.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how Say Sports plays this one, because, as you mentioned, he is the only car on the soft tyres now. Kaya pitted obviously on the first lap, so it is just Joe Sayer now on the soft tyres. How's that going to work for him? You know, it is far, far better to start on the mediums around here. We'll see if he can manage something magic, as he is on the soft tyres right now, and he continues on lap 4. The soft tyres do not last very long around here, as I found out last night. So he may be in a bit of trouble soon.
Yeah, of course, Dan looking likely for victory at Singapore until being passed on the last lap by two cars to finish third. Not Dan's finest moment. Not sure you were too proud of that one. Post-race, Dan the Man refused to go for media duties, so expect a fine next week. Magic Poop Cannon within a second. The Wet Lemons was getting closer, but still a bit too far back to go for a move. I think it's 5 tenths, not quite close enough. But again, will Poop Cannon want to go for it? He himself would not want to get into any sort of incident. Cannon needs to have a good, strong result here to get himself back in the title fight. But the drivers now just settling as they are for now. Pearson's getting close to Jacko in P8. But we'll stick with this battle at the front for now, because Poop Cannon really, really needs to get this win.
Yeah, I thought Jack Pearson was going to go for the move there on Jacko down that straight. But of course, he had an excellent result here yesterday in TGP1. Jack Pearson would be quite embarrassing if he then had a worse finish in TGP2 than I did yesterday in TGP1. But we'll see how that plays out for him. As it is, the top two are really pulling away now. Say Sports, he managed to keep up with the top two for a little bit at the start on those soft tyres. Beginning to drop back now. It's nearly 2 seconds the gap. Buchanan still less than a second behind Wet Lemons, and he both got pretty much identical battery as Buchanan almost hitting the wall there.
3 wins so far this season for Lemons, just the one for Poop Cannon. Poop Cannon taking that back in the Dutch Grand Prix. Wet Lemons hasn't actually won for about 4 weeks. He should have won 2 last week, but threw them both away, so on a bit of a drought at the moment, but he's now in prime position to take this one. But Poop Cannon is all over him. He's not letting him go. But of course, Sayer Sports, who will have to pit soon. I suspect he'll pit probably this lap, seeing he hasn't come in already. But if all these drivers on the mediums just stay out to like lap 13, 14, waiting for the rain, if it doesn't come, then Sayer Sports could be in prime position to be on those mediums and start to gain back some of the time he may lose when he pits and comes down in traffic a little bit later on.
That was an interesting line there for Wet Lemons through the corner, and I think he will have lost a little bit of time for that, and he probably would have got a warning as well. And you can see Poop Cannon suddenly within 4 tenths, and Wet Lemons just got all out of shape as he was going through the corner. Has to go off the road slightly, and Poop Cannon put a further pressure on him now. Yeah,
we've seen Wet Lemons crack under pressure a few times this season. Magic Poop Cannon just applying that pressure. These two have pulled clear.
Jack Pearson go around the outside of Jacko there. That's like the Hamilton Verstappen move last year around there. Fantastic overtake by Jack Pearson. Is Jacko going to try and come straight back at him? I don't think he can. And now Jack also is watching on, trying to think if he can find a way to make a move as well. But lovely move there by Jack Pearson. That's what Poop Cannon would love to do.
Yeah, good spot on wet. Oh, Malik Snelljak gets very close to Jacko. Almost hitting the back of him. In fact, I think he did. The Ferrari and the Mercedes coming together there. But Jack Pearson, that gives him a bit of breathing space now, a little further ahead. Quite disappointed, I have to say, by Jack Pearson's pace. I suspect he'd be right at the front, but in fact, no, you might be right. He's actually doing worse than he was yesterday. So that's a bit of a surprise.
I think maybe the wet qualifying didn't help him really in that respect too much, but very yellow flag out there. But I think that's Kaya. Yeah, it's Kaya who's out of this race, and his teammate Parter is far behind as well. So not a great race for AlphaTauri. Half a second now the gap. Jose is still staying out on those soft tyres, and Chris Johnson is still, well, he's only just now getting within DRS range of him.
Snelljak's coming to the pit lane. He's got a bit of damage up front. Magic Poop Cannon getting closer and closer to Wet Lemons, but it's still kind of within that 5/10 to 8/10 margin. Not quite close enough, surely, for an attack as they come down now to this famous left-hander where Matt Tibbles passed down the man for victory last night on the final lap. Poop Cannon is not close enough. Lemons has some quick speed on the straight. So where's Poop Cannon going to get the move done? Is it going to be a matter of the pit stops, Dan?
It may well have to come down to that, yeah, because certainly when they get to the straight, Poop Cannon just can't really get that close to him, can he? But Josiah is again starting to come under pressure now from Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson has got so much more energy as well than what Josiah has got at this moment in time. So interesting strategy by Joe to stay on these soft tyres for so long, but I think he's gonna have to come in very soon. But Poop Cannon taking a very wide entry into that hairpin there, and hasn't really helped him because if anything he's just lost time there, and I think he was possibly out of DRS range at that point as well. So Wet Lemons suddenly beginning to extend the gap slightly.
Well, Wet Lemons was 12 points back from Daniel Puilnot ahead of tonight. He's about to gain 15 points, so he would go 3 points in the lead of the championship after Singapore. 6 more races to come, or is it 7? I don't know. One of the few. But we've got Wet Lemons and Poop Cannon still 1.2 up front. Seiya Sports holding on to P3 for now. Parser is out of this race. Both AlphaTauris scoring nothing here in Singapore. Mighty Green Lemons still just sitting behind. Lewis Craig got some pit stops further ahead, I think.
Yeah.
Surely Jose has come in.
Yeah, he's come in and he's done that thing where he's put the pit limiter on too early. And Wet Lemons has been given a penalty. Wet Lemons has got a corner cut penalty. I mentioned that he was going for the corner right here on a couple of laps ago, and he's obviously had 3 warnings now and has been given a 3-second penalty. So Poop Cannon is in the net lead right now.
And Daniel Puilnot is attacking Chris Johnson, trying to get back into P3. Suddenly it's all turns. Advantage for the Mercedes man. How hard will Chris Johnson defend this? Poop Cannon ahead, now looking likely for a possible victory, whilst Daniel Puilnot gets very close to Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson just about holds on to the position for now, but Puilnot is looking racy and looking quicker than the McLaren.
Yeah, I'm surprised Puilnot didn't get that move done there, to be honest. It was a bit weird. It looked like he had a bit of an odd twitch as he was entering the corner at the braking zone, but it allowed Chris Johnson to stay ahead. Josiah on those medium tyres out the pit lane, and it looks like he's going to be immediately in traffic with Mick Schumacher and Mr. John just ahead, and they're battling as well.
4 cars really close on track here. Chris Johnson, Daniel Puilnot, Lewis Craig and Mighty Green Lemon, and Jack Pearson looking to join up further back. The 2 Aston Martins coming into this race as it develops, but Magic Poop Cannon now just needs to stay within 3 seconds unless he himself picks up a time penalty. Chris Johnson now holding up this trio of cars. Of course, this will all help Seiya Sports come back into it. If Seiya Sports can get through on that traffic, and already he's past Mick Schumacher, he's just got Mr. John to get through next.
Yeah, so I say Poop Cannon dropped off a little bit now, but he is probably just thinking, well, I'll just stay within 3 seconds. I don't necessarily need to push too much at this stage of the race, as Seiya Sports now gets the move done as well on Mr. John. So he's got past those 2 cars fairly comfortably, it must be said, and now he's 6.5 seconds behind Mike Noon. So we'll see what he can do on those medium tyres for the time being, as this is just starting out the 3rd place. The one to watch, I think. Lewis Craig very close to Puilnot at this stage.
So providing there is no rain at the end of the race down, what is the right time to be pitting for softs?
Probably you want to come in probably around about lap 11, lap 12, I would say, because the soft tyres just go so quickly around here. So he's still going to have a few more laps on these mediums, as Lewis Craig always Puilnot a little bit deep in the corner there, but he got away with it. So yeah, I would say a couple more laps, unless of course you do want to try doing the undercut. You know, that's what I tried yesterday on Matt Tibos, and you know, it worked until the final couple of laps. So, but I mean, I think I pit on lap 7 yesterday. We're on lap 8 now, so it will possibly be a little bit easier to try and undercut at this stage. So maybe we will see pit stops on this lap and the next lap, but they usually want to go a little bit longer. But we shall see what happens.
Well, we've reached half distance in this race now. Wet Lemon's still leading, but he needs to pull for the second and a half if he wants to clear the gap he needs to still win this race with that time penalty for corner cutting. Chris Johnson still doing an excellent job of holding up those behind him. Daniel P. Wilnot and Lewis Craig, neither of them can really go for a huge risk. They can't afford to lose all their points that they've accumulated so far in this Singapore Grand Prix. But Chris Johnson's really struggling out there. You can see he is crying out for some new tyres on that car, but it is surely too early to pit. Wilnot will be hoping he comes in this time round, or maybe he himself will decide to come in. Chris Johnson stays out, as does Wilnot, as does Lewis Craig.
Yeah, and so does Sean as well, my DN11. So those four all stay out on track. Joe Sayers has been given a penalty now, so that's not good for him. I assume he's pushing quite a bit on those medium tyres, though. I think he's closed in on Mike Newman by about 2 seconds on this lap. But the battle continues for third place. Buchanan 2 seconds now behind Wet Lemons, but still, as you say, because of that penalty, he's still got the net lead as Wilnot is deploying his energy here. He's quite low on energy now. Chris Johnson on 35% and Wilnot down on 17, so he's actually, Chris Johnson, in a fairly comfortable position, we would say, possibly for the final podium place at this stage of the race.
Yeah, a bit of a DRS train here behind Chris Johnson. No one can really get close enough to the car in front because they themselves seem to have DRS. And Chris Johnson just quick enough on the straights and getting the right traction from the corner entry to stay far enough ahead. M-Shep's caught up to the back of Jack Pearson. Will we see some team orders at Aston Martin? Jack Pearson slower than M-Shep. Well, there you go. Will M-Shep be let through by his teammate a little later on in this race? But the gap's now 2 seconds at the front, so Lemons is slowly but surely getting the gap he needs. We'll see pit stops very soon as these runners come in for the soft tyres. If, as I said, we are not expecting it to rain. There is rain in the air, but whether it will arrive or not in time, we'll have to wait and see.
Well, one thing that we should credit Jack Pearson for is the fact that he doesn't actually have a penalty at this stage of the race, and his teammate does. So maybe he will not want to move over for M-Shep at any point in this race, because if he can hold on without a penalty, he'll be very happy with that indeed then. So, and Buchanan is pitting. Buchanan is coming into the pit lane. I noticed the gap had dropped dramatically all of a sudden, and that's why, because he pit. Chris Johnson stays out, so does Wilnot, so does Lewis Craig, so does Sean. I'm amazed that none of them have decided to come in there and try and undercut, but Buchanan has.
Well, let's see if Buchanan comes out in clean air. There's a Mercedes and a Ferrari passing the pit straight now. He might just come into the gap he needs behind those two, and the Alpine behind him. We've got Chris Johnson still leading this train, but if anything looks like Lewis Craig is closer to Wilnot than Wilnot is to Chris Johnson. Wilnot really struggling out there, and surely Lewis Craig now has an excellent chance of getting through on the Mercedes man. He's coming down to the corner. We've seen so many passes last night in TGP1, but Wilnot parks his car in just the right place to keep that Mercedes clear. A bit too aggressive over the curbs. Got to be careful not to spin that car around. But Lewis Craig for now has to sit behind Wilnot for a further couple of corners.
And that's worked out well for Buchanan. He's come out right in between Jack Craig and Mike Newman and has got 5.6 seconds before he gets to Jack Craig. So looking good for him. And he can really try and push now on those soft tyres as Lewis Craig gets closer and closer to Wilnot through here. Went a bit wide through there. Oh, the car's all over the place at this stage. Tyres possibly starting to go now. As there's Wilnot within DRS. Did Wilnot actually get DRS there? He didn't. He didn't get DRS at Chris Johnson. So this is a chance for Lewis Craig.
He's going for it down the inside. He's going to brake later, is he? They come so close. They bang wheels almost. But Lewis Craig appears to have got through on his title rival, Daniel P. Wilnot. Will he come back at him? He can't. And the Haas behind him gets so close. Wilnot not quite close enough to getting back through on the Red Bull. Daniel P. Wilnot is demoted behind Lewis Craig. Decisive in this championship fight.
Yeah, crucial move by Lewis Craig there, and he managed to get done. That was all because Wilnot could not get himself in the DRS there, as Sean nearly lose it just behind Wilnot. Now, I'm surprised Wilnot hasn't come in the pit lane there. I thought that would be probably the opportunity at that stage to come in, but obviously not. He decides to stay out, and in fact, he all decides to stay out again. So, are they waiting for the rain? Are they just hoping to not have to do so many laps on the soft tyres? Wet Lemons, of course, also stays out.
Oh, this is brilliant. Will we see rain come in the closing stages of this race? Is that why all these drivers are staying out for longer than maybe we expected? If so, Buchanan and Sayers Sports will be hoping the rain doesn't come, because if they're all going to stay out, then they're just going to lose more time on these tyres, which are clearly going off. Wilnot is all over the place on those mediums. Chris Johnson's not doing too well either. My Green Lemon starting to drop back as well, whereas Joe Sayer and Magic Poop Cannon will be starting to find more time now on those mediums. So this, and there's a spin in the background. It's M-Shep. It's M-Shep. Well, he won't be getting let through now, and he's going to come out probably behind Jacko and Sully, I suspect. Slots in between the pair of them, so not what he needs.
Bit of an awkward one there to get back in the gap, and Speed Sully will be quite frustrated with that he couldn't get the move done, as M-Shep's going to be sliding about all over the place now as well. Oh, I thought he was going to hit the wall again there, M-Shep, but he got away with it. Is Speed Sully going to just send one now? Is not. And he'll be really frustrated now because he was so close to Jacko, and all of a sudden he's got a card in between them. As Mighty Green Lemon getting close once again to Wheelnut there, but no moves on this lap, as Speed Sully again late on the brakes, but can't make the move on M-Shep.
Yeah, Poop Cannon is 23.8 off the pace of Lemons, and the rain's starting to fall down. I can see rain.
Is it?
It's coming. And M-Shep almost sticks it in the barriers.
And Wet Lemons is in. Wet Lemons is coming to pit lane. Surely, he's not going to put the inters on, surely. Surely he's not going to put the intermediate tyres on. This would be an incredible gamble if he did.
I don't believe it. Surely it's too early for the wets. He's coming for inters. He has.
The inters on.
As Wet Lemon's thrown away. Another race victory. Let's see what the rest do. Chris Johnson stayed out. DRS is disabled.
Disabled. Well,
that might be.
This was a genius move by Wet Lemons. He's made a lot of errors in this championship where really he should be leading by quite a way. But is this actually a genius moment by Wet Lemons? He comes out the pit lane and he's got obviously Poop Cannon way ahead of him now. But is he now on the right tyres, Wet Lemons? Let's find out.
Wow, intermediate tyres now appear to be the one to be on. I thought Wet Lemons came in far too soon, but instantly that DRS. Oh no! Lewis Craig's hit the barriers. He's got front wing damage. It must be too wet out there. He's really struggling. Look how wet this circuit has got so quickly. Lewis Craig, who won 3 of the first 4 races, all over the place, and now Daniel P. Wheelnut is back on the tail of the Red Bull, and he's gone off again. Wheelnut will look for a move. Surely he won't get a pass here. Be careful not to touch. They're limping round the corner.
Oh my god, they're losing so much time. They're going to lose so much time. Well, they're going to catch up to them at this rate before they make the pit stop.
We could be looking at a Lemon 1-2 at this rate, because Mighty Green Lemon is the next best runner on those intermediate tyres. Chris Johnson just trying to get it back to the pit lane. Look how wet it is out there. It's bucketed it down so quickly. And now...
again, Lewis Craig, I thought he was going to retire there. Nearly put it, well, he did put it in the wall, but did not lose the tyre. And Wet Lemons and Jacko going side by side here. Wet Lemons on the inters, of course, and just breezes through. So Wet Lemons is only 8 seconds behind Lewis Craig, and he hasn't even made the pit stop yet. 7.5, 6.9. That's going to just come down and down and down, and everybody will be in the pit lane this lap.
Poop Cannon did actually come out ahead of Wet Lemons when Lemons made the pit stop. Wet Lemons just passed Poop Cannon and Jacko to go ahead of the pair of them. Surely they're all going to dive into the pits for intermediates. Not great news for Joe Sayer.
Unbelievable. I mean, look at this. Wet Lemons now has caught up to Lewis Craig and Wheelnut just as they enter the pit lane. It was a genius decision by Wet Lemons, as he sees as 2 championship contenders entering the pit lane to put the intermediate sides on, and he is away and gone at the front.
Will Chris Johnson come out second? We've got those coming around the pit lane now. Mighty Green Lemon, is he going to jump into an incredible second position? There's been a battle between them for the ages, but finally the 2 Lemons are going to find themselves first and second on track. Wet Lemon versus the Green Lemon. And Jack Pearson somehow into 3rd place. He's made the right call too. He's benefited massively.
And he doesn't have a penalty, remember, he doesn't have a penalty. He could be on for an FP2 here. As basically Lemon's gone a bit deep there. Oh, he's just made the corner. Now, can Jack Pearson have a go down here? He doesn't necessarily need to, of course, because of the penalties. As M-Shep gets ahead of Wheelnut out of the pit lane, Wheelnut. So Wheelnut down in 6th place now. Lewis Craig in 8th.
This championship being blown wide open. Wet Lemons is leading things, surely, if he can just keep it on the track. Oh, Pearson loses the back end, and that will cost him a little bit of time as Mighty Green Lemon has a bit of breathing space. It is a Lemon 1-2. I can't quite believe what I'm seeing. Chris Johnson in 4th, M-Shep in 5th somehow, despite that spin earlier on. He's made a great call too. Where would he be without that spin? Wheelnut is down to 6th place, championship leader, and he's under attack from Sully. Sully's looking for a move on Daniel P. Wheelnut, Dan.
Yeah, I think Wheelnut's struggling quite a bit, isn't he, in these conditions? Speed Sully all over him, although, of course, Speed Sully has been on these tyres a lap longer than Wheelnut, so is he maybe just getting them up to shape as he stretches around here for the first time on the intermediate tyres? Of course, DRS disabled now, which may make things a little bit more comfortable for Wheelnut down this straight, but Speed Sully is all over him.
Yeah, this is thrilling. So many battles on throughout the track as Jack Pearson has got ahead of Mighty Green Lemon. They get very close under the bridge, but Jack Pearson is crucially clear of the Hazman and now can start to just consolidate that second position. A lap to go after the next one. There's 2 more laps for all these runners now as they come round to start lap 14. Speed Sully still back from Daniel P. Wheelnut. Can he gain a place? He will get ahead of M-Shep at the moment because, of course, the penalty for the Aston Martin man.
Yeah, and he's got 6 seconds where the penalty is now M-Shep, so it's going to be a big hit for him, sadly, as Ice Cream Lemon gets, I think that's 6 seconds in now as well. Yes, it is. Wet Lemons, it is just 3 seconds, but he's got a 16.7 second lead, Wet Lemons. That is quite incredible. He timed that literally to perfection, that pit stop. But I mean, I really can't believe just how wet the track got in just such a short space of time. The DRS was disabled pretty much immediately as the rain fell down. So we'll see what the closest battle on track now then is. Wheelnut's beginning to gain on M-Shep. I think he is. He's actually pulled away from Speed Sully now as well. Lewis Craig, after changing front wing, of course, in that pit stop, he is 5.9 seconds behind these guys, and Jacko is potentially closing in on him as well.
Any other day, and surely Wet Lemons was making the wrong call there. He came in, I was convinced he was throwing away the victory. I was convinced it was too soon, but how wrong was I? The wet instantly came so quickly and the DRS was disabled, and suddenly it all went well for the Alfa Romeo, and he's got a 17-second lead and surely is now going to win this race with just another lap and a half to go. Jack Pearson is going to get an excellent second, and Jack Pearson and Green Lemon, who of course are new for this season, they're going to take points crucially off those fighting Wet Lemons in the championship. Daniel P. Wheelnut's going to get 5th at the moment, not ideal. He'll be hoping for maybe a spin further up. In fact, maybe with Mighty Green Lemon having 6 seconds of penalties, he could still get that position from the Hazman.
So the championship standings, yeah, it's going to be very interesting, isn't it, at the end of this, with what Wet Lemons is 12 points behind Wheelnut. So I assume he will probably take the lead, Ronnie, of the championship.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to get wet enough for wet. It's probably a bit too late now with just a lap to go, but Mike Noon picks up a penalty further back. Not too worried for him. He's down in P11, just holding on. Jack Craig, Magic Poop Cannon down in 10.
Chris Johnson is flying all of a sudden. The Mighty Green Lemon falling right back, really struggling on these tyres, and Chris Johnson gets through into 3rd place. Green Lemon's got those 6 seconds where the penalty is, of course, so it's not really worth fighting this. And Wheelnut, well, potentially Wheelnut may well jump M-Shep and Mighty Green Lemon here. Wheelnut could recover to 4th, and that could save his championship lead, perhaps.
Yeah, we've got Lewis Craig under threat now from Jacko. The second Mercedes man is getting closer to the Red Bull. Doesn't necessarily need to pass, of course, has the time penalty, but he may just go for it. Jacko, we've seen him make so many great moves throughout the season already. Will he go for a move if he gets close enough to the championship contender? Lewis Craig holding on for now, but yeah, still lots of positions to be decided in this final lap of the race.
Lewis Craig, I mean, he's just got to make sure that Poop Cannon doesn't gain any time, because he's going to lose the position to Jacko, but he's just got to make sure he finishes this race in 9th. But Wet Lemons, he has timed this absolutely to perfection. He has got a 17-second lead. What a dominant win. All of a sudden, this is going to turn into Wet Lemons and a big statement in the championship.
Yeah, looking good for Wet Lemons on this final tour of the circuit. What a race we've had here at Singapore. He's on course for what will be his 4th victory of the season, matching what Lewis Craig has set. So that's 4 wins apiece now for the 2 title contenders. Daniel P. Wheelnut will be hoping to try and get P4. I suspect he will. He's pulled the gap back on those ahead. But Wet Lemons crosses the line to win at Singapore. What a performance. He made the right call at the right time. It shows his 18-second lead in this race. Jack Pearson is going to get an excellent P2. It was his birthday yesterday. Well, a bit of an after party here for him. He's going to get P2. Chris Johnson will surely get that final podium spot. As further back, Jacko still continues to harass Lewis Craig, but he'll probably just sit behind and take the position once the penalties are applied. Chris Johnson gets 3rd. Mighty Green Lemon will be 4th, but then drop down to 6th place. Surely Wheelnut does take 4th. Sully does take 5th. And Jacko will take 8th ahead of Lewis Craig. Poop Cannon taking the final position in the top 10. But Wet Lemons, he needed that win, didn't he, Dan? He's right back at the front. And oh, Mike Noon did a crash at the final corner. He's crossed the line, though, so he's okay. Mike Noon just about, in fact, takes P12, P13.
Yeah, losing more positions as Neljak and Mr. John, they're very close together here across the line as well, but Neljak does have a penalty, so Mr. John 14th, Neljak 15th, and Baza will be in 16th, and then Mick Schumacher will round out the field in 17th. Nice little fireworks show for them on the final few corners of the race, but yeah, what a fantastic race that was, and what a brilliant call that was by Wet Lemons, making the pit stop at the perfect time, and that has helped them dominate this race. And well, Wheel Nut in 4th, Lewis Craig in 9th.
Not what Lewis Craig or Daniel P. Wilnut were hoping would come from this race. They've lost big points to their title contender. Jack Pearson with an excellent P2 is your driver of the day. But what a win for Lemons. That's his 4th victory of the season. It's got to be deserved. He made the right call. He was the man that just controlled the race. Looked like he had some threat early on from Poop Cannon, but he's taken the victory. Top step of the podium, and he is now your new championship leader.
Yeah, so he is definitely a championship leader then, Wet Lemons, going into Monza, and he will be so happy with that, I imagine. I mean, I know I've mentioned this quite often, but it's crazy really, like, you know, the first few races of the season, they dominated, and it did feel like he was just going to walk the championship, but wow, suddenly he's going to be in 3rd place in the championship now, and he's got some catching up to do.
Indeed he does. Interesting to see what the points are going to look like very shortly. Poop Cannon did take the fastest lap point. He finished down in P10 though, so not much consolation for him. Here are your results from the Singapore Grand Prix. Wet Lemons takes his 4th victory of the season. Jack Pearson and Chris Johnson completing the podium places. Daniel P. Wilnut, who was your championship leader, only managed 4. So in fact, I suspect that puts him, 1 point maybe behind Wet Lemons in the championship. Speed Sully's 5th, Mighty Green Lemon, an excellent P6 on debut. M. Shep 7th, Jacko 8th, Lewis Craig and Poop Cannon completing that top 10. Dan the Man, driver of the day. I think I know who it's going to be.
Well, I mean, I suppose the driver of the day's got to be Jack Pearson, hasn't it? The call of the day is probably Wet Lemons, although let's not forget that these guys also made the right call at the right time as well. But I think because it just, for Wet Lemons, for it to be the moment he came in the pit lane as well, just a few corners before him when it started raining, and you know, for it to be for the fight for the lead and the championship and everything, that's the one that'll get all the headlines. But yeah, so this one, driver of the day's got to be Pearson, hasn't it?
Indeed it does. The Confessor has asked if he can race the Italian Grand Prix, seeing as he didn't race in TGB1 yesterday. Well, I think if we put Confessor into this equation, Dan, I think the Confessor would be claiming his first TGB2 victory. Of course, he's won 10 races in TGB1 so far this season, 10 from 14. But we're now heading over to Italy.
I mean, Monza is usually the quickest race of the season, isn't it? But if you put, I think if you put the Confessor in the car around here, it'll be done in 5 minutes, to be honest. And we actually here in TGP2 we hope to get a huge battle once again in this one. But yeah, I'm just trying to work out the points here, Dom. And I think you're right. I think it is Wet Lemons on 192. We are not on 191.
Very, very close. I think it is between the top 3 now. I think maybe Poop Cannon's just a little too far back. He really came back into it last week, or a couple of weeks ago, in fact. But I think maybe now he was already kind of 50 points back before that race, and with just 7 races to go now, I think that probably is him out of the equation. Would you rule him out, Dan? I think it's too far, surely.
Yeah, I think you probably got to now. Sadly, it was a shame that he had to miss last week because he could possibly still be right in there. But yeah, I think it's probably a bit of a long shot for him now. But it's Lewis Craig on 180. So Wet Lemons 192, Wheel Nut 191, Lewis Craig 180. So 12 points separating the top 3. Sorry. Well, Lewis Craig is the one who's got to catch up now, and the top 2 separated by just that 1 point.
That's quite incredible, really. The top 3 before this race were separated by 12 points, and the order was Daniel P. Wilnut, Lewis Craig, Wet Lemons. All those 3 have swapped positions. They're all in a different order, but the points gap is still at 12 points. So, looks like this one is going to go down to the final race. Surely there's still 7 races to go. As I said, Italy is the next one. Next week we've got Austria and Hungary. Following that we've got China and Imola. And then, of course, the title decider at Japan and Great Britain. Dan the Man, if you could pick any circuit to end the season to have a title contention fight, would it be Britain? What would be your choice, track of choice?
I think for me it'd probably be Monaco, to be honest, because I'm fairly confident that I could get a decent result. Or maybe Suzuka, because also you've got Suzuka on the final night as well. But yeah, Silverstone has been the absolute final round for me. Is pretty horrific. I wouldn't choose that. Not my favourite track in the world, but yeah, that and China really are two tracks coming up late in this season, which I am really not looking forward to, I have to say. And I don't think the drivers are going to be looking forward to that track because it is once again wet. There's been so much wet running in this TGP2 season. We've had a wet Abu Dhabi quali, for goodness sake, and we have rain again here in Monza.
Well, they're cheapskates at TGP, Dan. They only ever give us 15 kilograms of suitcase storage space, so I never bring the umbrella down because I don't have enough weight for it. Well, once again, it's a wet race in TGP2, and I've got no sound. I do have sound now. It's come back, so we've got that back at least. That would have been a quiet qualifying session if we had no effects on these cars. But once again, it's a wet session. It looks like it's full wet tyres for Kaya, the same for the Mercedes behind him, so maybe a bit too wet for the intermediate runners at least. Yeah, this is going to be another interesting qualifying session. Let's see if it's full wet throughout.
This is going to be about as challenging as it gets, because if it's a dry race, they're all going to be on the dry setups. And, I mean, trying to do a lap with a dry setup in Monza with, wings of, possibly 0-0, best of luck.
Yeah, let's see how this one goes. We've already got a race here in qualifying. In fact, Jacko is just straight line that chicane to get clear of Kaya. He wasn't holding around. Let's see if the stewards take kindly to that. Dan, you wouldn't straight line a chicane at Monza, would you, to get around on a qualifying lap?
No way, and it definitely wouldn't be that specific one either. It definitely wouldn't be that specific one during the qualifying session. Absolutely no chance. But yeah, if Jacko gets a penalty, as I said yesterday, he can do an Aston Martin and present 7 different times that it happened previously, and I'm sure that would be one of those times, because I did the exact same thing yesterday in that exact same place. But yeah, Jacko obviously very keen to be the first driver to set a lap, because that's what he now will be. But it's going to be very, very difficult around here.
Indeed, we're expecting rain throughout at the moment. That's what we're hearing from our drivers on the track. So it's going to be a full wet qualifying, so therefore wet tyres most likely through this session. Jacko will be the first driver then to set a lap time in this session. It is Monza, a real fan favourite between these drivers. A lot of drivers seem to like it, even though it is kind of really just straight chicane, straight chicane, straight chicane. There's just something about it, though, that seems to be hit with the drivers. Is it a track that you seem to like, Dan? You seem to do very well here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a classic, isn't it? It's like iconic circuit, but of course it can sometimes get a little bit fruity down at the first chicane, and hopefully there won't be any sort of contact like we saw yesterday in TGP1, as Jacko just trying to stumble his way through these first 2 chicanes. So tricky in these conditions. Then you go into this first Lesmo, gentle, easy as you like, back on the power. Second Lesmo now, if you run too far out on the curb here, you will go spinning even in dry. It can be quite difficult to keep the car on the road. But Jacko wisely totally avoids the curb, and now he's got to get ready for a Ascari, which is incredibly tricky corner. Just has to guide the car through here in these conditions. You do not want to be hitting that curb there on the left hand side, especially in this weather, and he hasn't done that. So Jacko continues on, and I imagine the cars will, if it's going to be wet all through the quali session, the cars will be, well, pretty much fully fueled as much as really you want to, because there's not really going to be much point in pitting every so often, as Jacko rounds the Parabolica, and he's going to cross the line to set the first lap on the board, and he's a 132.1. And of course, I suppose one guy who actually will be quite disappointed with this is Mighty Green Lemon, won't it? Because we did hear that he was setting some incredibly quick times in the dry around Monza, but suddenly for it to now turn up and be wet, he will not be happy, will he?
He won't. Once again, the rain. I think this must be like the 3rd or 4th race in a row we've seen a rain-affected session. We even got one in Abu Dhabi. I'm starting to wonder what's going on out there. Chris Johnson.
There was Abu Dhabi, and then the week before that there was Spa, wasn't it? It was wet all the way through, and so was Netherlands had a wet race, didn't it? Bahrain was dry, but then of course you just had Singapore. So yeah, there's been so much rain in this TGP2 season.
I can't think of many in 2GB1. Have we had many wet races other than Portugal?
We had Portugal, and I think that's it, isn't it? We had the rain yesterday.
Oh, of course,
in
yes.
Singapore, but the early stages, but that's it.
Jack Pearson straight lines to chicane, loses time by doing so, though he's on a lap. It's not invalidated. It was that slow. That's going to affect him, but it's about getting lap times on the board at the moment. You can't afford to have a crash or an incident and then find yourself further back. But Jack Pearson has stopped using his ERS. He's saving it for the next lap at the moment. Oh!
Well, yesterday on his first lap, he crashed at a Scotty. He nearly went corner earlier there, but thankfully, he managed to get through it. And if he can just complete this next corner, he will have gone further than what he did yesterday in qualifying. Oh! I got all over the place. Wow. Obviously, I had a bit too many burpee drinks, and Sonny's got a Ferrari right behind him here, and it's Neljak, but he's on an outlap, so it's not going to do any harm. But Jack Pearson, I assume he's going to continue. He's all over the place.
Got to pit surely, get some new tyres or something. No, he's going again. He's continuing.
He's continuing.
He's got 11.
Well, if there was a possibility to press the red button and ride on board with your favourite driver all the way through this session, I know I'd be choosing for this quality. But we're going to focus on all the drivers. As you see, Wheelnut setting on 130.8, going quick. He's got Parser there as well in a very good second place. And just to say that, he goes and spins at a Scotty and hits the barrier. But hopefully for him, he hasn't got too much damage and he can continue.
Yeah, 130.8, the quickest time so far from Wheelnut. The Alpine getting very slidey, the final corner. That's Bazza. Bazza looks like he's coming into the pit lane. No, he's just maybe getting out of the way or making a mistake there. He goes 12th. Pucana goes quick as he was right behind. Didn't get distracted by that, so he still found himself with the quickest time of 130.6, the new benchmark time, starting to get a little bit quicker. All these runners still out there on the wet tyres. No one on inters, I assume, Dan?
No, I think everybody is on the wet tyres right now then. So just seeing if is Lewis Craig about to improve. Now I think he's 1.4 seconds down, so I can't imagine this has been much of a push lap for Lewis Craig. No, it's definitely not going to be. So championship contenders at this moment then. We've got Wheelnut second, Lewis Craig fifth, Wet Lemon seventh, but Chris Johnson, who's sixth, has just gone purple in the second sector. There's a car. He's just passing Aston Martin who's spun. Who is that Aston Martin who's spun? Oh, it's Jack Pearson. Is that Jack Pearson who's spun in the Aston Martin? But Chris Johnson is about to come through the final corner here at the parabolic, and I think he's going to improve. His teammate just ahead of him, Sayer Sports, and he's also about to improve. Joe Sayer goes 9th, and Chris Johnson, is he going to go pole?
Yes,
he is.
What a lap time. Chris Johnson, 130.5. The new quickest time in this session. Poop Cannon's a bit further back. He's not improving this time round. Wheelnut finds a little more pace, does he? No, he's still P3, passes in 4th. Jacko, I'm assuming, is quicker in the first sector. What about the second sector? Your next benchmark is here. He's 7/10 up. This would be the new pole time if he can get it nice and tidy.
Well, I've definitely lost some time through there, but it looks like it's brightening up a little bit, isn't it? And I can see some drivers have actually switched to the inters in the pit lane. And actually, Mick Schumacher is out on track on the inters right now. So we'll see what lap he can put in a bit later. But Jacko, I assume, will continue. But it is definitely brightened up, hasn't it? But we'll see if Jacko, even with that error, he nearly loses the car, the exit of Parabola. That would have been a big accident. But Jacko crosses the line and he goes in third. And obviously, we've got a 130.5 for pole, 136 for second. Third 37, fourth 38. So the times are so close in these conditions still.
Yeah. Well, there's a spin for Jacko. There's Red Bull getting out of the way as well. Cars behind, completing lap times. All these runners still on the full wet tyres. Will we see intermediates towards the end of the session? Yellow flag and set one. I think that's just a few cars getting out of the way of faster runners. Wheelnut looking to improve on his lap time here. 130.8 is the current lap time that he has set. He's 3/10 adrift of what Chris Johnson has set. A very good lap time from Chris Johnson. Can he get his first pole in what would be quite some time? He's really struggled this season, in fact, on this game in general. But Wheelnut crosses the line and goes quicker as a new fastest time of 130.2. And he goes to the top of the timesheets.
Good lap then for Wheelnut. We've also got Ice Cream Lemon on inters as well. So, and Parser also coming out on inters now. So it's looking like inters is beginning to be the way to go. I don't know if it'll manage to dry off enough for dries. But it's going to be really interesting here. Once again, we've got a fantastic situation in qualifying with tyre choices and the track drying out towards the end of the session. So we've got Parser, Wet Lemons now crucially also is out on Inters, and Kaya, Jack Pearson as well, Mighty Green Lemon, and Mick Schumacher.
Nooney, 38, currently P15, just the second slowest of the runners that have set a lap time so far, but he's found some big improvements on this lap already. Can he get himself inside the top 10? Yes, he can. P9 for the Alfa Romeo man. Jack Craig's also finding time out there, coming up to the final corner now. Really struggled this season, the pre-season title favourite, let's not forget, but he's had a miserable season. I'm not sure he's finished inside the top 5 once this season. The Alpine man crosses the line. Can he improve on P10? He can, but it's only P9. Nell Jackson validates, so won't be improving. And Parser, like you said, now starting a lap on the intermediates.
Well, and Sean, Mighty Green Lemon, as Wheel Nut on a 28.7 first sector on his quickest lap. Mighty Green Lemon has just matched it on the intermediate tyres. So this is looking good for him as he comes through the second Lesmo. And if he can just stay on the road here, I would say with this improving track and with intermediate tyres seemingly now being the way to go, it looks like he may well be about to put in a pole lap. 59.1 at the second sector as somebody else has just jumped up the leaderboard. There's Mick Schumacher on the Inters. So Inters, definitely the way to go. Bit wide there goes Sean on the exit of Ascari. He might have lost a bit of time there, but I think the improvements on the track is going to be so great here. I would expect Green Lemon to put the car on pole. If he can just take the car through the Parabolica, which he does indeed, he's going to cross the line. Will he be the first car to get into the 120s? Yes, he is. 29.4.
Well, what can Wet Lemons do? Can he respond to that? He's finding time too. He's out there on track. Mike Noon is also going quicker. Can he put himself inside the top 5 on this grid? He goes third quickest. A good lap time from him. Who else is out there? We've got Parser, of course, on the intermediate tyres. He's 1.1 up. That would put him right in contention for pole if he can improve in the final sector like he has in the first 2. The AlphaTauri man coming around the final corner now. Can he put himself right at the front, crosses the line, and does a second quicker than anyone else?
And Wet Lemons also want a quick lap into absolutely the way to go. Mike Noon just set a lap, obviously, as you mentioned a few minutes ago, but of course that was also on the wet tyres, and so did Jacko as well. They've got to get back in the pit lane and they've got to put a set of Inters on because it is decided to be on at this moment in time. Here comes Wet Lemons around the final corner. If he can get a good exit, I'm pretty sure he's going to jump up the time sheet. It might not actually be good enough, to beat that lap by Parser though, and it's not. It's a 28.6, so he goes into second place.
Yeah, he'll be happy though still to be ahead of his title contenders. Daniel P. Wilnot down in 5th. Magic Poopcan in 9th, and Lewis Craig down in 11th. He needs a quick lap time here. Mighty Green Lemon is 3rd at the moment. Jack Pearson's gone 4th in the Aston Martin. Jacko still holding on in 5th. Can he find time? Well, he was finding time, but he has invalidated, so he'll be coming straight back to the pits as Poopcan goes quickest of all. A new Quacker's time, a 128.1.
And Green Lemon was also on a quick lap there, but he has invalidated, so Mike Noon is... Well, Mike Noon, it says Mike Noon's improving here, but he will surely pit. In fact, he's gone really wide Parabolica. So surely come into the pit lane and put a set of Inters on Mike Noon, and that is what he is doing. So we're seeing if anybody else is improving right now. I think Parser is about to lower the benchmark even further here. Can Parser perhaps get into 126s here? Might be a bit of a long shot as he's going to come and cross the line. He might not even get into 127s. Yes, he does. He does get into 127s, 127.9 to put the car on pole. Then Parser fighting for poles all of a sudden once again in TGP2. Incredible stuff. He's doing well here so far tonight around Monza. Well, let's see what Wheelnut and Lewis Craig can do on their first laps on these Inters.
Times are tumbling out there. Baz is finding 6/10ths in the middle sector. Jack Pearson's validated this lap time. Mike Green Lemon is 6/10ths up in the first sector alone. Can the Haas driver get himself right at the front, maybe claim a first ever pole position in TGP2? He's looking quick around this track, that's for sure, but it's Parser currently quickest with 4 minutes to go. It's still drying up. Looks like it's definitely dry enough for intermediates. I don't think we'll get anywhere near the dry tyres. Not enough time in this session. But Mike Green Lemon, middle sector, what's his lap time looking like? He's still quicker. Could this be the time?
Chef's just jumped up into second place, but as you say, Green Lemon, he hasn't invalidated this time at Ascari, and I would say it's pretty guaranteed to put the car on pole position here. If he can get through the Parabolica, he's going to jump to the top. Along comes Mighty Green Lemon in the Haas. It might not be pole actually. It's not. It's not even the top three. He finished fourth, so I don't know where all the time went there. I viewed that lap late on, so I'm not sure if he lost time. He surely did, but not the improvement I was expecting there from Mighty Green Lemon, it must be said. Let's see what Wheelnut and Lewis Craig can do now. Lewis Craig is coming through Ascari 58.4 middle sector. I think, was it a 58.2 that Arsenal? I can't quite remember now, but we'll see what he can do. I think we've got a McLaren about to cross the line as well, haven't we? Joe Sayer. In fact, he's pitting. So Lewis Craig is going to be the next car to cross the line then. Now Chris Johnson just behind. A little bit out of shape there, Lewis Craig. Let's see where he can put the car.
Lewis Craig to the line. Can he go quick as he goes fifth? What about Wet Lemons? Currently P6. He's finding time too. Chris Johnson back up to fifth. Wet Lemons crosses the line and he goes up to fourth, crucially ahead of Lewis Craig. Times are tumbling still, but Parser still the man with the quickest lap time, a 1:27.9. There's just 2.5 minutes to go now. Will these drivers get...
2.5 minutes to go, but we've got Jacko out on softs. And it is still raining, so I don't really think that's going to work. He's going very slow, having to let cars through. So, but he's put soft tyres on.
A lovely chopper cam of the other Mercedes, a wheel nut going down to turn one. He's just gone second quickest. Look at the gaps, 3/10 covering the top seven, and of course in these tricky conditions as well. Good to see. Say Sports a second adrift in P10. I'm loving this camera. I hope this stays on this camera for the whole race. This is brilliant. Daniel P. Wilnut in the first sector. Can he find more time on Parser? He's 3/10 up, Dan.
Yeah, it's just looking good then for Wheelnuts, isn't it? Oh, as he hop, skip and a jump there across the second chicane, but he got away with it and will probably not have lost too much time in to considering the track will be constantly improving. As Parser's also come out. Parser's come out on medium, so I don't understand that one, but Parser out on medium tyres. We'll see if that works. 1 minute 40 to go. So some cars have decided to risk soft tyres. If it does suddenly get... In fact, it stopped raining. It stopped raining.
Surely not.
Maybe. Well, I mean, it stopped raining in Singapore, and we've seen what happened. The track did not dry out anywhere near quick enough, but it sure managed to rain quick enough during the race. And is it going to dry out pretty quick? We'll see if DRS gets enabled, and who knows, maybe. Dry tyres could be the way to go in the final stages, but is Wheelnut's about to put the car on pole? It's only really him who's about to set a lap. He crosses the line. Is he going to beat it? No, he can't beat Parser.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he doesn't. Chris Johnson's not finding time either. It's too late for these cars to get back to the pits. Chris Johnson will try to go again on this new final time lap. You want to be last car across the line, really, considering that it's getting drier and drier. Jack Pearson, in fact, doing just that, holding his position, waiting a little bit longer before going, but there's a whole train of cars coming up behind him, so he's going to have to go soon.
Bazza off on the track. Bazza off the track there on the gravel, on the soft tyres. I suppose if these guys can just crawl around on the soft tyres and then cross the line with like as few seconds to go as possible, maybe they might have decent conditions. Parr's about to come around the final corner now and start his lap. Speed Sully about to cross the line, and Speed Sully puts in a 27.0 and puts it on pole.
We've got 5 drivers out there
DRS
on
is enabled.
drive. Oh, and Mike Noon goes quick as a 1:27.0. There's 5 drivers out there. Kaya's one of them on the dry tyres. Alex Coates finds 9/10. The times are tumbling. It's getting drier out there. But is it dry enough for the dry tyres? Look at this grid. We've got Mick Schumacher in 4th with just a minute to go. Lewis Craig goes quickest.
Paul. Sadly, Kaya's missed the line by about a second, which is such a shame. On the dream pole. As Wet Lemons puts a 1:25.3 in. But these guys are all on inters.
Parser on dry tyres is 1.5 seconds quicker in the first sector alone.
It's looking good for him then, isn't it? Wheelnut is disastrous for Wheelnut. He's way off. What's going on? He's going really slow. Is he out of fuel? Is that it for him? I think it is. He's going to be down in 8th, possibly even lower.
Well, the top 2, Wet Lemons and Lewis Craig, are the 2 of the 3 in the title fight. Jack Pearson's going to start higher than 14th. Chris Johnson goes quickest, a 1:24.1, but Parser's the quickest man out there at the moment. He's purple sector 1, purple sector 2. Keep an eye on, I think. Who else is out there on dry tyres, Dan?
Mike Noon. Well, Mike Noon's on inters. Oh, Neljak was improving, but he's just invalidated, and he's crashed at Ascari now as well. Wet Lemons can't set a lap. Lewis Craig might get one more in as well, but I think Mike Noon is the one to watch right now, and then it'll be Parser on the medium. Say Sports goes second. The McLaren 1-2. But here comes Mike Noon.
And here comes Parser further back. Parser to the line. Can he take pole? He can by 1.6 seconds. He's done it. Jack Craig's out there on medium intermediates. The intermediate tyres are finding pace too, but not enough as what those on the soft side.
Lewis Craig lost it at the parabolic edge. He might still improve. He's still going to improve his time. He jumps up to 7th.
Oh, wow. What a qualifier. Parser takes pole by 1.6 seconds. Magic Poop Cannon is second and all that madness. What a shame Kaya didn't get his lap in. Kaya could have gone top 3.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And Mick Schumacher as well, he messed up his well, he was on Inters as well, wasn't he? So it wouldn't have been got no football. But yeah, you're right. If Kaya crossed the line there, oh, you would have got a lap. Oh my God, who knows what could have happened? But yeah, Parser on pole position there. I wonder when was Parser's last pole?
Oh, I think we're going back a while. Well, Parser takes pole position for the first time this season. He really needed that. Now, can he go on and win this race? Let's not forget, Parser has only finished in the points twice all season. And look at that, he was the only one of the top 14. In fact, he's the only one to set a lap time on the dry rubber. Yes, he was the only driver who was onto it, wasn't he? He came in for the dry tyres. I wonder what made him do that, because it looked very wet with certainly about 3 minutes to go. But maybe he was keeping an eye on the tyres, the delta. Sometimes you can see the tyre gaps coming down and down within the pits, so maybe that was it. But Parser on pole by 1.6 from Poop Cannon. Jack Craig was third. Chris Johnson and Joe Sayer once again together, fourth and fifth, just 5 thousandths between them. Nooney, Lewis Craig, Wet Lemons, Neldrak and Speed Sully complete the top 10.
And obviously also he set the pole up on the mediums as well, which probably hasn't happened in TGP since like F1 2013 or something. But there's obviously, usually, I remember we used to set pole laps on the medium tyres, but soft tyres usually obviously the way to go, but not on this occasion. And it has worked brilliantly for Parser, but it is totally dry now. And all those dry setups, this is where it's really going to matter.
I'm still good that Kaya didn't get that lap in.
Same.
Surely would have been at least top 5. He's a few seconds off the pace of Parser anyway, but that would have been good enough for a top 5. So quickly, Dan, predictions of this one. Can Parser hold on? I'm not sure he can.
Well, we'll see. He's going to have a charge and pack coming up towards him, but it's going to be interesting to find out. But the start is crucial. If you can avoid any drama at the start, you might be set fair for the race if you can get a good launch.
12 points between the top 3. We're coming to the decisive part of this season. It's the Monza Grand Prix. 5 lights on, and we are racing here. It's a poor start for Poop Cannon, a good one for Jack Craig in third. And look at this. Let's see if they can get clean down into turn 1. They're going 3 or 4 wide as they come down to this famous first corner. Parser crucially keeps clear of the lead for now. We've got Magic Poop Cannon. He's been spun behind.
Oh!
And Parser, what happened to Parser? He just went straight off. What?
It's absolute carnage. I was watching the midfield really. I went to watch Lewis Craig and Wet Lemons. It's a flying start for Lewis Craig, and he's side by side with Joe Sayer. He's going to be in third place, and he's going to have a run maybe on the top 2 coming into the second chicane. Brilliant start by Lewis Craig. Wet Lemons, nearly a carnage as he fared the back as well. As Wheel not involved, Jack Craig's out the race. Wheel not going off the track, but Wet Lemons nearly had to get on the big sharpish into turn 1 because he nearly sends it down the inside. And then he went out a load of cars, but I'm not really sure. Like I said, I was watching the midfield, so I'm not really sure what happened there in the middle of the pack. With Parser, well, he's gone from 1st to 17th.
You've got to watch that back. Poop Cannon was the one that was spun, at least from what I saw on my angle. Poop Cannon was spun by somebody, tagged around, looked like he was going to go spin to the back, and then Parser, who was about a second clear of everyone, just drove straight into the wall. I've never seen anything like it. And Poop Cannon leads.
Yeah, Poop Cannon's in the lead right now, so it's Poop Cannon leading, Chris Johnson second, so Lewis Craig is 3rd, Wet Lemons is 7th, and Wheelnut is 11th, but Lewis Craig on the softs, Wet Lemons and Wheelnut are on the mediums, which is very, very important.
Neldrak all over Sayer Sports. Sayer Sports himself getting close to Lewis Craig. A good start for the McLarens. They're right in the mix, really coming alive in this second half of the season, but Joe's gone wide.
Mike Newham there, nearly sending it there into the back of the front. Oh, he's lost it. He lost the car on the exit.
What a shame.
Exit stage left there for Mike Newham, but now he's down into 16th place, and Parser is in the pit lane. Jacko is also in the pit lane, so they've obviously got damage from the first lap melee then. Poop Cannon leads by 9-10. Chris Johnson in second. This is from back in the day. This Poop Cannon versus Chris Johnson up at the front. Lewis Craig 1.6 seconds back. Top 4 are all on the soft tyres.
Yeah, Wet Lemons all over the back of Sayer Sports. Sayer Sports got very close to Neldrak the previous sector. It looks like Neldrak might be carrying damage. In fact, Sayer Sports might also be carrying damage too. Wet Lemons needs to get through on these two. He's championship leader, of course, after that race, but only by a point. Daniel P. Wilnot is down in 9th at the moment. This corner, a really tricky one, but here comes the Alfa Romeo man. Sean, he's going to fly through on Sayer Sports. Will he just sit back and take DRS down the start-finish straight? No, he's going for it. He takes the position and up into P5 he goes.
Yeah, Lewis Craig has definitely got damage. Lewis Craig's definitely got damage on his end plate, so we'll see if he has to maybe change his front wing when he comes in for his stop. But Neljak is gaining on him as DRS is enabled on this lap. Mighty Green Lemon is pitting. Look at Wheelnut and Speed Sully, a drag race down the start-finish straight as it. Oh no! Super late on the brakes. He's made the corner though, and somehow he has managed to make the corner legally and stay ahead in a place ahead of Wheelnut.
I thought he was about to fly into the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin now attacking Steyr Sports for P6. Jack Pearson came alive in Singapore. He's coming alive a little earlier here in Monza. Steyr Sports just about holding on for now, but he's definitely carrying damage. You can see the front wing is missing on that McLaren. Doesn't make much of a difference here when the drivers are running nil-nil wings anyway, but Jack Pearson will want to clear him very quickly as the spin further back. I think that might be Kaya or Pastor, one of the AlphaTauris facing the wrong way. Jack Pearson all over the back of Steyr Sports here. Sure, he's going to get him here with DRS.
Let's see. I'd say it's no front wing for Jose, I'd say. So he might be quite quick in a straight line. Although, in the braking zone here, Jack Pearson had to back out of that because Steyr Sports is going to struggle around here. But Jack Pearson may well have a bit of a launch now. Although, once again, in a straight line speed, Jose it just took off all of a sudden. And, well, can Jack Pearson maybe get him with DRS down here to start a lap 4? Jack Pearson is on the soft tyres as well. Steyr Sports on the medium, so he kind of needs to get the move done. Oh, and I think, yeah, he's pitting. He's pitting Jose, so he actually backed off there. But disaster that is actually for him because he's on the medium tyres, so we'll have to go to the softs now, I assume, for the rest of the race. There's no point really putting the hard tyres on as Lewis Craig gets a little bit out of shape there in the first chicane, gets away with it, and Neljak is 8 tenths behind, and Kaya is out of the race.
I wonder if Lewis Craig is going to change that damage in his pit stop. Really struggling out there. He might not want to, but sometimes the game just does it anyway. Lewis Craig holding on to P3. He needs to beat Wet Lemons. He is now 12 points adrift of Lemons in the championship. At the moment, he would be pulling back 5 points to make that deficit down to 7. Wheelnut not looking too good in 7th at the moment. Just kind of sitting tight, waiting for maybe other stuff to happen in this race. But Wet Lemons looking most dangerous at the moment between the battle for P3.
Yeah, and it's 2.6 seconds behind now. Lewis Craig on the top 2, and yeah, Wet Lemons definitely looking the most promising, I would say, at this stage, especially because he is on the medium tyres as well. So Wet Lemons is in a very, very good position right now. I would say.
Jack Pearson's round.
Jack Pearson.
Jack Pearson's round. Somehow he's doing worse in TGB2 than he's done in TGB1, and he's spinning again. Can't quite get tyre grip in that car. He's down to 12. Not looking good for Pearson.
So
three-car fight.
Wet Lemons has got a bit of a run here, although actually Neljak's got even more of a run, and obviously DRS will be enabled for these guys, and Lewis Craig is going to have to do a bit of defending here with that downward front wing at the braking zone. Neljak actually cannot make the move, and that was good defensive driving by Lewis Craig. Let's see if he managed to get the exit spots on, which he does, and it's actually Lewis Craig, Neljak and Wet Lemons stay as you were, and Wheelnut 3 seconds back from these guys. Does Wheelnut have damage as well? Can't see any visible damage for Wheelnut, but it's quite a fair way off these guys.
Crucially though, he is now up to 6th and just 1 place back from Wet Lemons, which is just a point with the Joe Sayer point system that we use here in TGP. Jack Pearson's coming into the pits, get some new tyres on that car. This all the while is helping the top 2 to stay clear of everyone else. You can see the Williams and the McLaren striking clear as 2.5 seconds back. Lewis Craig defends for his life to try and keep the Ferrari and Alfa Romeo behind. He knows the championship is on the line. There's just 3 more weeks to go after this one. He can't afford to lose big chunks of points here. The gaps are so tight and every mistake is crucial.
Well, with Wet Lemons being in the game as well here on the medium tyres, if I was Neljak, I would pit this lap. I will pit this lap and try and pull a bit of an undercut on Lewis Craig and just see what happens with Wet Lemons because he is on the medium tyres. He'll be so quick on the softs. Although it might not be able to pit again if Wet Lemons gets alongside him. No, and is Lewis Craig going to actually come in? Yeah, Lewis Craig comes in. So Neljak decides to do the opposite and Wet Lemons is going to be having the DRS here, although so will Neljak. But as Wet Lemons got the faster straight line speed, 2:13, 2:14, both braking at the same time. Can he both make the corner? Oh, he's just staying ahead, Neljak.
Brilliant stuff. Neljak keeps clear of the Alfa Romeo man, helping the title contenders of Wet Lemons. Wet Lemons stays back, loses a few more seconds as he has to do 1 more lap behind this Ferrari, who appears to have slight end plate damage on that Ferrari. Or maybe it doesn't. Sorry, maybe it was the shadows through that corner. But Wet Lemons still behind the Ferrari.
Well, that's fine. This is fantastic. This for Lewis Craig. Lewis Craig will be loving this. He'll say, just keep battling, please, because he's going to have the pit lane now, and he will help a lot in his battle with Neljak. And Wet Lemons, of course, still on the medium, so he won't be pitting for quite a while. Yes, as Mike Newman has DNF from this race, and he's out of this race. As Chris Johnson and Poop Cannon also pitted there, didn't he, during all that? So Poop Cannon also pitted from the lead then. So we'll see if Chris Johnson, I think the gap was closing in Chris Johnson on the previous lap as well. So we'll see maybe how close that is once Chris Johnson also makes his pit stop.
Will Neljak get DRS here from the Mercedes in front of him, which I think is Jacko's car? Wet Lemons is wanting to get through here on the Ferrari. Will this time be the time that Alex pits? I think it is. He's going to come into the pit lane, which relinquishes Wet Lemons into P2. Magic Poop Cannon's also pitted, so Chris Johnson now out front in this race, and let's see how they fare with the medium tyres now. I think they've gone on to.
Yeah, but interesting that Chris Johnson stayed out again. So Chris Johnson staying out again, did not want to respond immediately to Poop Cannon, decides to stay out on track. Poop Cannon's going to be pretty quick though, I imagine. He's not really got much traffic either. So here comes Neljak, and where is Lewis Craig? Lewis Craig is coming down the start-finish right now. And actually, despite Neljak battling with Wet Lemons, he's way
must
ahead.
Have changed.
So Lewis must have changed the front wing. Yeah, of course, yeah. He must have changed the front wing, and he has changed the front wing. So that explains that.
Yeah, so not looking good for Lewis Craig. He's going to lose more points to his title contenders here tonight. There's a yellow flag further up. Is that Mick Schumacher? I think it is, from P6, now down behind Bazza. I think he's been passed by John too. So not looking too good there for the second Williams of Mick Schumacher. He's got his teammate now coming up to him. Neljak is fighting Mighty Green Lemon for P9. The Haas driver wanting to get through on the Ferrari man at their home circuit. But at the moment, Neljak holding on. We've seen Neljak defend already for a few laps from Wet Lemons. He'll look to do the same now to Mighty Green Lemon.
Well, he made a very early stop, Mighty Green Lemon. He's done 4 laps on these medium tyres already. But of course, we know he had pace in as he was prepping in the dry conditions around Monza. And Neljak's going to go off there. Oh, he's just managed to save it. But Mighty Green Lemon, he might be so quick here. He might still be able to get the move done. Coming down here, is he going to actually? It's not worth it, surely. Surely just wait for the DRS down through the next corner as Chris Johnson pits then. So Poop Cannon, where is Poop Cannon? Chris Johnson's coming on the pit lane exit. This is the battle for the lead, and Poop Cannon is going to be back ahead.
And Green Lemons is now all over the back of Neljak, going for the inside. He's going to try and get the Ferrari man down into turn 1. Looks like he's got the move done. DRS helping him through, is it? He goes up the inside, takes the place. Neljak almost clips him, but comes straight back at him. It's going to be a drag race now, down into turn 3. Who's going to come out on top of this one? It looks like it might well be Mighty Green Lemon. He's got the move done, but Neljak will come straight back at him. He'll want to get back through and take P7 away from his rival, but it looks like Mighty Green Lemon is just too far ahead, and Poop Cannon is crucially 1.7 clear of Chris Johnson.
It's close on the pit lane exit for Lewis Craig and Speed Sully, but Lewis Craig just about managed to stay ahead.
That's not Wet Lemons, is it? A spun?
It is Wet Lemons that spun!
Wet Lemons has spun round. I saw he spun again. I don't believe it. He's throwing it away. He spun again.
He can't get back under control.
You've not won the championship yet, Lemons. You can't do donuts yet. He's throwing it away. It looked like he was going to gain more points, but once again this season, the championship leader is throwing away points, and he's not going to be championship leader after tonight.
Unbelievable. I mean, he was probably going to get an FP3. He was set for an FP3. He was on the far better strategy, and other cars were battling on the soft tyres, and he's going to have to pit. Well, I mean, he's pitting anyway, which is not surprising considering he just had the incident. So Wheelnut is actually in the best position right now, although it's going to be quite close for him here with Lewis Craig coming down now. He's just going to be ahead of Lewis Craig, and Neljak and Mighty Green Lemon are both going to be ahead of him. So Wheelnut is going to be charging on those soft tyres here in these closing laps. Can he possibly get into the top 5? Bazza hasn't actually hit yet, has he? And Poop Cannon is all over the back of Bazza right now. And Mr. John also needs to pit.
Bazza's really defending this one. He defended like his life was on it. He parked it right in the middle of the track and not allowing Poop Cannon to just cruise through. And this, of course, allows Chris Johnson to close up on his rival. Bazza losing the Williams man time here. 1.7 is the gap at the moment. He'll get DRS now and surely will fly through. But Bazza still not making it easy for him. He's going to park that car just where he needs to not allow it too easy for the Williams man. But this time, I think surely he's going to go through. Magic Poop Cannon looking good for win number 2 at the moment.
Yeah, looking very good for him then as Chris Johnson managed to close in by about half a second, but obviously Now the position has been handed over to Buchanan, and we'll see if Baz starts to come in this lap. As Mighty Green Lemon then is looking good for a podium at this moment in time, but Neljak is still going to be right there and is still going to be right on him. And of course, Green Lemon's got to do quite a few more laps as well on these medium tyres as Mr. John comes in, and so does Bazza.
We've got a fight here. Daniel P-Wilnot is caught up to this battle between Mighty Green Lemon and Neljak. So the highest championship contender at the moment is only P5. Yeah, Wilnot. Lewis Craig 6th. And Wet Lemon's out of the points completely in 15th. I cannot believe he's not winning this championship as things stand. How? He should have won both races last week. He should have won this one. And once again, Dan, he's just throwing it away. You can't make these mistakes.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of Monaco as well when he crashed, and Saudi Arabia when he crashed as well, and he was looking good for a good position. Unbelievable. Oh, wow! Mighty Green Lemon losing the car in the second chicane, and Neljak closes in even further, and so will Daniel P-Wilnot. And if these two battle long enough, it may just help Lewis Craig enter the party as well on those medium tyres. But Wilnot, oh wow, he will know what's happened to Wet Lemons. He'll know he's the furthest ahead now in the championship contenders, and he will know that he will retake the lead of the championship if it stays like this tonight. But he will not want to get involved in a crash with these two fighting for a final podium position.
Sean and Alex, Mighty Green Lemon and Neljak both share a love of Ipswich Town, but they're not going to be sharing the love at the moment on track because they're going to want to both have that final spot on the podium. Daniel P-Wilnot will want it himself, just 5/10 back from the two of them, and now Neljak will have DRS on his rival. It looked like Mighty Green Lemon was going to pull away once he cleared the Ferrari, but now the tables have turned, and suddenly Daniel P-Wilnot is looking to join this scrap too. But is anyone going to change position down to turn one? Look at this, he's gaining so much time, the Ferrari man. Is he going to go around the outside and take the place? Not quite.
And Wilnot, his heart's going to be in his mouth here because he will want to just avoid all sorts of contact. And Lewis Craig isn't really closing in. He is on those medium tyres, of course. And if anything, Steve Sully on the softs, he's actually getting closer and closer to Lewis Craig here. So Lewis Craig could lose a further position. And he is 12 points back in the championship. And he's still getting points on Wet Lemons, of course. But he will not gain points on Wilnot, who will retake the lead of the championship if things stay like this on lap 11 and 13 here in Monza, where it's looking set for a victory for Magic Buchanan. But let's see what happens in these dying stages of this race as Wilnot 6/10 behind Neljak now. Neljak getting closer and closer, and 22% energy for Mighty Green Lemon, 38 for Neljak, 41 for Wilnot. So Wilnot actually is leading there in favour of those three, and then Lewis Craig's only got 6%, and Speed Sully's got 30%. So Speed Sully on those softs is going to be flying, and we're really maybe he can get past Lewis Craig in these final couple of laps.
My favourite camera angle has returned. We're on Chopper Cam here as Neljak tries to close in on Mighty Green Lemon. The three of them getting so close to one another, but neither threatening to make that pass yet. Here comes Neljak getting closer and closer. There's 2 laps to go down to turn one. This is where they get so tight, so bunched up. There's just 4 or so tenths between these three. Lewis Craig just sitting back, and look how close they are. Neither of them giving an inch, and Alex Coates is so close to the Haas, but he has to defend behind because Neljak is also under attack from Daniel P-Wilnot.
How do you play this if you're Wilnot? I mean, it's not worth going for some crazy move, is it? It really isn't. You've got to think of your championship in these circumstances. Lewis Craig closing in by half a second in that first sector, though. So he's going to be a bit on eggshells because he knows he's got a chance of contender just behind him. Oh, he's got a bit, he's all over the place in a second. Lesmer way out of shape on the wrong line completely. But he's managed to get away with it, but Lewis Craig closing even further.
Yeah, indeed he is. Lemon's only going to get 2 points as things stand. Maybe more if those ahead have incidents or penalties. Mr. John's just been passed by Bazza for P10. Daniel P-Wilnot crucially ahead of his rival, but like Stan said, how do you play here? It's so tight here. There's just one more tour of the circuit to go as they cross the line. Chris Johnson is kept within range of Magic Buchanan, but he's not quite close enough, unfortunately, to mount any sort of attack. 1.5 seconds the gap at the moment. Wilnot getting closer and closer to Neljak, and Neljak not as close to the Hasman now, but Wet Lemon's just spun again. That might lose him another chance of points, but here we go. Neljak closer and closer to Green Lemon. Is this his lunge? It's the final lap. It's now or never. But Wet Lemons
Benson, Mighty Green Lemon, and yet manages to keep the position.
I can't have 2 lemons in the league. This is very confusing. I keep thinking Wet Lemons is Mighty Green Lemon and Mighty Green Lemon is Wet Lemon. But Wilnot, 4/10 adrift of the Ferrari. He's just sitting back, I think, for now. Alex and Mike Green Lemon just fighting over third and fourth, but neither of them really look like there's going to be a change of position. They're just so evenly matched, the two of them.
Oh, he's got deep there, Green Lemon. Oh! Wow! That is a brilliant move by Neljak. That reminds me of Schumacher and Hakkinen. And there's Wilnot going to take advantage of number 4th place. Oh, got to be so careful. But he's got away with it.
I was worried he was going to get a penalty for maybe taking too much curb on the inside. You can see Mike Green Lemon is harvesting. He's ran out of hers. Chris Johnson's pulled the gap down to 1.2 at the front. Oh, I was thinking maybe Pucana would make a mistake at the final corner. Can Mike Green Lemon retake that podium place? Got to be so careful through this section of corners. And here comes Daniel P. Wilnot for an extra 2 points in the championship. He goes through on Mighty Green Lemon. And now can we see the same of Lewis Craig? But Magic Pucana is going to win his 13th Grand Prix in TGP2. He's just about going to hold on from Chris Johnson. It was so close at the end. Now Jack's going to get third. It's going to be 4th for Wilnot and 5th for Mighty Green Lemon. 6th place for Lewis Craig only. Solly will get 7th. What a battle. Mr. John and Sayersport are fighting over 9th to 10th. It's just the 10th between them with Bazza straight behind the pair of them as well. So keep an eye on that. Can Sayersport hold on for P9? Oh, very late breaking from John. Oh! They make contact and John's round. And so is Sayersport. Bazza takes the place. It's P9 for him. Mick Schumacher takes 10th as well. Not what Mr. John or Sayersport would have wanted. And Wet Lemons is only going to get P13. Just 2 points for him, while Daniel P. Wilnot takes 12 points for 4th.
Synchronised spinning there at the very end for Joe Sayer and Mr. John. But Mr. John gets 10th, Joe Sayer 11th. But obviously that might go to the stewards. And Mick Schumacher 0.025 there behind Joe Sayer across the line. But, well, I want to hear from Mighty Green Lemon because he must be gutted to lose that podium at the very end. But he had done 11 laps on those mediums. And it looks like the saucer just went on him in that final lap.
Well, it's only 13th for Lemons. He picks just 2 points up. He should have got the podium here. 3rd place looked almost certain to be his. Bazza looking mighty fine as your driver of the day. He finished 9th. So congratulations on your 9th place finish, Bazza. But your race winner is Magic Pucana, former champion. Only his 2nd win of this season, but it's his 13th all-time. Back on the top step of the podium. Chris Johnson will be happy with 2 podiums tonight. And Neljak as well, taking an excellent 3rd place finish for Ferrari. This championship is going to be so close, let me tell you that. I'm not quite sure who got the fastest lap.
Fastest lap of Pucana.
It was Pucana, okay. So Pucana may well have brought himself back into it as well. But yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, so they get to enjoy the best podium in motorsport then, you would say, probably. Maybe Le Mans, maybe, but certainly in F1, as they enjoy the podium and Pucana enjoys the champagne 1st place in this race. But yeah, so I'll try and work out the championship standings, but I can't believe what happened to Wet Lemons in that race, and he's in such a good position.
Well, I think Daniel P. Wilnot might well be 9 points clear now of Lemons, and I think Lewis Craig is 14 adrift of Daniel P. Wilnot. So I think there's 14 points between the top 3. You might be able to confirm that, but I think it's very tight. I'm not quite sure where Pucana ranks and all of that, but it might well be a 4-way fight after that race. What a race it was. Qualifying was thrilling. The race was thrilling. If it's like this every week, I might just have to turn up down and join commentary, because this has been thrilling to watch. Pucana with the win. Chris Johnson, Neljak 2nd and 3rd. Wilnot, Mike Green Lemon, Lewis Craig, Speed Sully, Mshet, Bazza and John, your top 10. What a race that was, Dan. I can't wait for next week already.
Yeah, it's Wilnot 203 points, Wet Lemons 194, and Lewis Craig 189. So you're right, there's 14 separating the top 3. And wow, just so many swings in the championship, so many dramatic roundabouts, and you know, Wet Lemons going really from 0 to 0 in one race there from Singapore, the masterclass decision, and then the spin in Monza. I mean, you cannot call who's going to win this championship.
Make sure you watch back turn 1, by the way, with
Parcel.
Yeah, I can't quite believe what happened there. I don't know if maybe I misread it, maybe I missaw it, but watch it back. That's all I can say. Watch back what happened. I've never seen anything like that ever in league racing. But Chris Johnson is the highest scorer of the night. He'll be happy with that. 2 podium finishes for him, 2nd and 3rd. Good points for the McLaren man that has never quite taken a title, but has come very close many a time. But what a race that was, Dan the man. Next week, it's Austria and Hungary. So well, I mean, Dan, can you pick a possible title contender favourite at the moment?
Oh, it's so difficult, isn't it? I mean, I would say probably Wet Lemons, but he is prone to mistakes, isn't he? But it's just a matter of can he make, more successes than errors in the closing races. But this is the point where the tension really begins to ramp up now, doesn't it? In these closing stages, maybe Wheelnut might have the experience to hold on and take it, but we'll see. It's gonna be so close. Can't wait to see what happens.
Well, 3 weeks to go. Austria and Hungary are the next 2 tracks to look forward to.
Sorry, I'm just watching the start. Sorry, I've just seen the start. That was very strange.
I'm glad I didn't see it. It's quite something.
Just totally outbroke himself, didn't he? I think. Very strange.
Yeah, I was very interested to hear what Parser has to say about that. Maybe the wheel brakes, maybe he just completely... I don't know. I think only Parser can answer that question. But what a night it was. TGP2 showing once again just how dramatic and exciting it can be. We'll see you next week for Austria and Hungary. Good night.